Have you ever heard of a place where children are taught that their own parents are enemies of the state? A place where the only law is survival, and escape is considered a betrayal punishable by death? Today we're delving into the chilling reality of North Korea's Camp 14, a place so horrific it's hard to believe it exists in our modern world. This isn't a story from a history book. It's a living nightmare for thousands of people right now. My goal today is not to sensationalize suffering, but to bear witness and to understand the profound depths of human resilience. We'll be looking at the story of Shin Dong-hyuk, the only known person to have been born in and escaped from a total control zone, political prison camp in North Korea. His journey is a harrowing yet vital testament to the human spirit's unyielding desire for freedom. Imagine being born into a world where you've never known love, only fear. Shin Dong-hyuk's first memory wasn't of a hug or a bedtime story, but of a public execution. In Camp 14, officially known as Kachon Internment Camp, this was normal. The camp is what's called a total control zone, meaning inmates are imprisoned for life. There's no re-education, no release date. It's a life sentence of hard labor, starvation, and unimaginable cruelty, often for crimes they didn't even commit. Many are there simply because of their family's alleged political disloyalty, a concept known as 3 generations of punishment. From birth, Shin was taught that his parents were prisoners who deserved their fate. He saw them not as family, but as competitors for the scarce scraps of food that kept them alive. The camp's rules were absolute and brutal. Rule number 1, any attempt to escape will be met with immediate execution. Rule number 2, anyone who knows of an escape plan and fails to report it will also be executed. This rule was burned into Shin's mind, creating an environment of total distrust. He was conditioned to be an informant, even against his own mother and brother. One day, he overheard his mother and brother planning to escape. Conditioned by the camp's cruel logic, what do you think he did? He did what he was taught was right. He reported them. He believed he would be rewarded, perhaps with more food. Instead, he was taken to an underground prison, tortured for information he didn't have, and forced to watch the public execution of the only family he ever knew. At that moment, something shifted. The betrayal he felt, not from his family, but from the guards and the system, planted a seed of doubt. Life in the camp was a relentless cycle of back-breaking labor. From a young age, Shin worked in mines, factories, and on farms, often for more than 12 hours a day. The food rations were meager, a watery corn porridge that was barely enough to sustain life. Inmates were so hungry they would eat rats, frogs, and insects just to survive. Accidents were common. Shin himself lost a finger in a factory accident, and his punishment for dropping a machine was to have the tip of his finger cut off by his supervisor. He bears the scars of his childhood, burn marks from the torture, a misshapen finger, and a body stunted by malnutrition. But the physical scars are only part of the story. The psychological conditioning was perhaps even more brutal. He was taught to feel no empathy, no loyalty, no love. He didn't know what these concepts were. His world was black and white. Follow the rules and maybe you'll see another day. Break them and you won't. It was a complete dehumanization, stripping away everything that makes us human. The turning point for Shin came when a new prisoner, a man from a more privileged background, arrived at the camp. This man had lived in Pyongyang, the capital, and had even traveled outside of North Korea. He spoke of a world Shin couldn't even imagine. He described food, real food like roasted chicken and pork. He described freedom, the ability to go where you want, say what you want, and live without constant fear. For the first time, Shin heard stories of a world beyond the electric fence. The idea of roasted chicken, a concept so foreign and delicious, became a powerful symbol of this other world. It was this idea, this flicker of a possibility of a different life, that ignited the first real desire for freedom in his heart. It wasn't a political ideal. It was a deeply personal, almost primal yearning for something more than the suffering he knew. He and the new prisoner, who he referred to as Uncle Park, began to plot. They planned their escape for months, a terrifying gamble. The camp was surrounded by a high-voltage electric fence. Their plan was to wait for the guards to be distracted and make a run for it, hoping to use Park's body to ground the fence so Shin could climb over. It was a desperate, almost suicidal plan. but it was their only hope. On January 2nd, 2005, they made their move. They crawled towards the fence. As Park tried to climb through, he was electrocuted and died instantly, his body caught in the wires. His sacrifice, however, created a small gap. Shin, driven by a raw instinct to live, wriggled his body over Park's and through the fence. The electric current burned his legs, but he was through. He was outside. For the first time in his 23 years of life, Shin Dong-hyuk was free. But his journey had just begun. He was in the middle of North Korea, starving, injured, and wearing a prisoner's uniform. He survived by stealing food, traveling at night, and eventually, by a stroke of luck, crossing the border into China. From China, he made his way to South Korea, and finally to the United States. When Shin arrived in the free world, it was a profound culture shock. He had to learn everything from scratch. He didn't understand money, he didn't know how to interact with people, and he was haunted by guilt and trauma. He felt immense guilt over his mother and brother's deaths, a complex emotion he was only just beginning to process. He had to learn what it meant to be human, to feel love, to trust others. His story is a powerful reminder of the darkness that exists in our world, but it's also a testament to the incredible strength of the human spirit. To be born into hell, to know nothing but cruelty, and to still find the courage to seek out the light is nothing short of miraculous. Shin's escape and his willingness to share his story have shown a global spotlight on the atrocities of North Korea's prison camps, which the regime continues to deny exist. It's a difficult story to hear, and it's easy to feel helpless. But awareness is the first step. By learning about places like Camp 14 and listening to the voices of survivors like Shin Dong-hyuk, we refuse to let these atrocities happen in silence. We honor the victims and support those who have escaped by ensuring their stories are told and never forgotten. We must advocate for human rights everywhere, so that one day no child will have to be born into a world like the one Shin escaped. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this incredibly important and difficult story. It's a testament to human resilience and the unshakable desire for freedom. If you found this content meaningful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into stories that matter. Your support helps us continue to bring these important issues to light. Thank you for watching.